Hello everyone, how are we all doing today? We have another video. This is again World of Warships Blitz for the iOS or Android. No self-promotion there. This is a premium ship look at, so to speak. We are looking at the Aurora Tier 3 cruiser. Now this is one that was awarded, I believe, just in general for the pre-registration for World of Warships, so if you do have one, be wary. It is a premium ship, so you do have the aspects of being able to gain more silver, so to speak, because of that being the case. But do take into account that it's not the best one available for you. But again, it's still not bad for a tier 3 cruiser itself. And hey, why not? I'm not going to turn down free premiums, especially at the lower tiers. So what is there good about this ship overall? Well, not specifically too much. In a comparison to other tier 3s, it's not got an amazing amount of hit points to start with. You're only looking around about 16,000, in this case 16,350. It's okay, but compared to something like South Carolina, it's about 26. It does lack. Apparently this also has a very similar comparison to the St. Louis as well. Similar layouts. It's just while the armor is comparable, the hit points is one of the things that makes this ship suffer quite a lot. Your main guns is 152mm. One of the aspects which is good about the ship, there's a battery of 8 guns, so 4 on either side, front and back. Fairly decent. I mean, if you're going to be up and close against someone, or indeed middle distance, you don't want to be too far away, then you have a lot of rounds to put down range. It does say that the AP ammunition itself is not really useful per se, so you might find yourself firing high explosive all the time, probably a better chance of setting people on fire with your 8 guns, and with that being the case, it's already preloaded, you might as well just have the chance of setting people on fire. Just be wary that because the actual ship itself is rather slow in terms of its acceleration, it's not going to get you there any faster. 20 knots is a maximum speed. Again, kind of outclassed by some tier 3s that are non-premium, but then that's to be expected. You don't really want something that's massively overpowered. At the moment, I'm seeing information relating to the gun range being 8.9 kilometers, but some saying it's slightly a bit further. What we'll be doing though is we'll be going into the actual game and we'll see how the actual ship itself acts. Standard supplies I've got on the ship itself: improved crew rations, we've got preventive maintenance, refined diesel, the gun rammer or main battery modification. Gun rammer I'll still call it because nostalgia. Damage control system modification and the torpedo defense modification. And of course, because it's a premium ship, I have silver bonuses because I need that silver, especially as I'm going up the lines as quickly as possible. So without further ado, we're going to take this ship into a battle and see how it reacts. So here we are on Sand and Sea in the Aurora. We're ready to start, and I'm going to be going off to the right, and of course turning my ship to the left to get all those guns facing. You can see as you look on the actual ship itself how the gun layout is done. So you've got actual guns on either side, which help. It's certainly in the case of having most of the guns pointed in the correct direction at any given time. So if you have to pesky little destroyers that want to come around and drop a few torpedoes, you've got a very good chance of actually getting some decent shots into them. I have been trying the HE ammunition out, and I did try out the AP ammunition out. And contrary to belief, the AP ammo was actually okay. Because this only sees tier 3s and 4s as it should do, again early on in the actual game, so I can't specifically say if Blitz is going to be different to the PC version. But it's not been too shabby, and the HE ammunition I did find that, well, whilst the amount of guns I've got is ideal, there's quite a few on there and I can get a decent amount of damage. The AP ammunition is far more enjoyable because alpha, that's all I specifically wanted it for. I managed to avoid a collision there, which is ideal. Because I'm going to be going around to the left, it's going to be engaging from a long range. 8.9 clicks is the range for the guns themselves. And I don't really want to put myself in a position of using 16,000 hit points gone in a single hit, because the South Carolinas on their team can hit for quite some damage. And they're not exactly easy to take down, especially if they've got themselves around about the 26 grand mark. Aiming forwards, got a St. Louis, which is the comparable tank, why do I keep saying that, ship, to what I've got now in terms of armour. Trying to make sure the shell velocity and the arc that it has is massive, so you do have to take that into account if you are going to be aiming at people from long range, that you are going to have to lead by a fair distance, and you're also going to have to just make sure you don't do what I do and miss most of your shots. So far, so good. we've already managed to kill one of their tanks. Because there are a lot of Auroras in the game itself as well, if you do find yourself coming up against them and you're not in a premium ship such as the Aurora and you're in the South Carolina, you will have an amazing game because it will just dominate. I mean, the amount of health that it just rips apart with the AP Eager Shells, unreal. Taking on the St. Louis has decided to separate himself from the rest of the group. I don't really want to go too far forward, so I've pulled back a bit, use the cover of the rock. Trying to set him on fire, trying to focus fire with the other ship that's next to me. Want to get him dead. Fortunately, the fire's been put out. Despite the fact the amount of HE shells I put into the St. Louis, I am set on fire quite easily. Even with all the maintenance, I have to try and reduce that, if possible. St. Louis is pretty much dead. There's no option available for him to survive. Too many ships shooting him. He's going to be gone in a jiffy. I mean, there's 4 on him now. So I'm going to see about trying to concentrate my fire elsewhere once I've set off this salvo, if I can actually aim it properly. I believe in this game I do carry on using the high explosive shells. The rate of fire on this thing is just unreal. It really is. You can just put so many shells down range, and in the case of you using high explosive, that certain chance of setting people on fire is there. Just that the alpha's not really there itself, and I would probably say use it at a much closer range, in probably regards to having secondaries on the South Carolina, so about 4.8 kilometers. That would be an ideal range to spam high explosive, especially from the ship with the rate of fire it's got. Now I'm switching to the AP ammunition because I'm wanting to do some damage, and ignore the sirens outside, they will eventually go away. The current Aurora that's in front of us is, yeah, there's not much chance. He's only just in front of the rock, so I can get some nice decent hits on him, and everyone else is high firing AP ammunition, so he's pretty much gone. Not long left in the game itself, and they've only got 3 ships left. They can pretty much see where this is going. They're South Carolina, the Kawachee as well. Not really much of a problem for us to face, especially on the fact we've only lost 1 tank, many points, and you can just see the absolute it's just shots after shots. I mean, there's so many salvos going into the ship. I don't know what the guy's going to end up doing. Nice little damage rolls on the final salvo in that one. You will find with the rate of fire you have, you can annoy people, which is another aspect. If you can get them to chase you, maybe you can pull them back into a certain area where you've got other people hiding. Maybe you can find yourself in a sticky situation of being surrounded by a destroyer, and they end up going around the flank and pretty much get wrecked because you're the other side of the ship. 2 left, South Carolina, and I can't see the one because he's gone into the distance. The other one in particular, I believe it may be another South Carolina, is trying to cap. Now unfortunately he's the only one capping, and he's left it slightly too late, so I don't think he's going to be able to make it in time. The current South Carolina that's in front of us, yeah, he's pretty much gone. In this instance it would have probably been better to kind of figure out where the other ship is going, just to make sure that they're not going to be within a chance of being able to cap. The turning circle, so to speak, on the ship itself is ideal, so you can find yourself turning very rapidly and basically pop the ship all the way around without too much effort at all. So regardless of the stats and what you see online, it is actually okay. Even in tier 3 battles, you just want to make sure that you pick them correctly, because you don't really want to be going up against South Carolinas. You don't want to really be going up against 2 destroyers, especially if they're able to get around you. Yes, your guns can still train on them, but if they fire off their torpedoes, your 16,000 hit points are not going to be there for very much longer. Because of the cover that we had, and the fact that we all stayed together as a group, the 10 grand in health I have managed to survive the battle, and we didn't lose basically anywhere near as many as they did. So we ended up winning 956 points, and we've got a decent amount of silver, 4,000, not bad to say it's a non-premium account. 450 standard XP with 22 free XP, again not too shabby, with 23,000 damage caused. Nice little job for the JMI and the Wicks with 40,000, MVP with 306, but the other team pretty much folded. You can see the South Carolinas and the standard tier 3s are doing more damage than the Aurora because of that fantastic AP ammunition that it has. But overall, I am actually enjoying the ship itself, and it is relatively good overall because of the fire rate, the fact it's got the guns on both sides, so you can ensure that if you are going to get flanked, you have an option of being able to destroy people. And if you go together in a group, you could be that annoying little ship that can basically pepper people with rounds and ammunition and still do a fair amount of damage. So don't forget, if you did like the video, to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll be popping more up later. But thank you very much, and I'll see you later.